Hey guys, I'm Kristen with ICStarsQuilting.com. In this series of videos, I have been taking on the questions that I get most in my inbox and going through them one at a time to give you answers dealing with modern quilting. Now, today's question is kind of a loaded one, but I'm going to go into it for you and maybe help add some clarity to this for those of you who are wondering, what is modern quilting? What makes a quilt modern and why is it modern? What's the difference between modern quilting and traditional quilting? So traditional quilting is mostly on a grid format that has specific blocks that are repeated over and over and over again. It's a very predictable pattern. Now, that's not the only thing that makes a traditional quilt. Modern quilts can have a traditional grid pattern like that, okay? But that's kind of how traditional quilts were used to being made, right? They're also made out of necessity is kind of what I feel like they were made from. You know, it was to make use of fabric that we already had on hand and to repurpose it into something that can be used again and again. So like an old dress that didn't fit anymore, or children's clothes that your kids outgrew or something. A lot of the traditional quilters would take that, repurpose it into a quilt that could be made and enjoyed by the whole family or passed down to the next generation, right? Oftentimes you'll see a lot of the same repeated designs in traditional quilts, a lot of sash between the blocks to increase the size of the quilt. Borders are very popular, sometimes multiple borders to give it that look of adding size without adding a lot more complicated designs, right? In contrast to that, your more modern quilts, I'm talking about like the true, tried and true modern quilts, are a lot of asymmetry, okay? So you're gonna have things that are like in juxtaposition with each other. It's not mirrors, images of the same block repeated over and over again. It's a lot of asymmetry. You're also gonna see a lot of minimal designs, okay? So maybe a lot more open spaces, not such intricate, tiny patterns. And there's a lot more improvisational style as well. So it's not so much out of necessity as it is an art form. We're just making something, creating something that's never been created before for the sake of being beautiful and for the sake of art and creativity. And you can have repeating blocks, but they may, like I said, they may incorporate much more brighter fabrics. You're actually going out and purchasing fabric to make these blocks based on what you want, a specific look. You're not just using what you have on hand. My favorite way of explaining this to quilters is this. I am a modern quilter because I could go to Target and buy a $20 throw, right? That would keep me warm. It would do its job, but it doesn't have the sentiment to it. It doesn't have the creativity. It doesn't have my personal touch to it, okay? That throw from Target, they manufactured 15,000 of them, okay? Or something like that. I don't know how many they make, right? But the quilts that I make are one of a kind. They're designed by me and nobody else in the world has them. That is what defines art versus mass production when it comes to quilting and the like. There's also so many new fabric brands out there who are creating these gorgeous fabrics and these gorgeous designs that are meant to be included in our home decor, right? And included in our homes themselves. They're a part of our houses now, okay? They're statement pieces. Again, that quilt on the back of the couch is meant for a splash of color and beauty and some way to show off my passion, which is modern quilting, right? It's also meant for when we're snuggled up on movie night and somebody says, "Mommy, I'm cold," I can pull that quilt out and we use it. But it adds to our home as well. So it's a statement piece as well as a useful utility piece. I hope that kind of clears up the kind of fuzzy line between traditional and modern quilting. Really and truly, whatever you decide to call yourself as a modern quilter or a traditional quilter, it depends on your personal preferences. Sometimes I kind of blur the lines in between when I go. Sometimes I'll do very traditional quilt patterns like the log cabins and the jelly roll quilts and stuff like that. Those are very traditional quilt patterns, okay? But you can add a modern flair to it simply by using modern fabrics, right? So you're using the history and the techniques of the past, blurring the lines with the modern fabrics and the modern ways of doing things that we have now with all of the wonderful long arm machines that we have, right? We're adding and kind of blurring those two lines together. But that is really, when it comes down to the definition, is symmetry and predictability and usefulness versus asymmetry, art piece, minimalism, very simple but beautiful, made for like decor pieces. That's kind of the defining factors between traditional and modern quilting. So hopefully that answers the questions for you. If you have more questions for me, feel free to email me. Also, go ahead and write them down in the comments down below. Your thoughts on traditional or modern quilting, whether you are a traditional quilter or a modern quilter. I would love to know. I kind of want to do a poll on this and see where everybody stands and how they feel, whether they fall into one category or the other. I would love to hear from you. I hope that you have a wonderful day. I hope that you're enjoying your week, and I hope that you get to do some quilting this weekend. Have a wonderful time. My name is Kristen with ICStarsQuilting.com, and I'll talk to you soon.